Welcome to another episode of the Chill by Nette podcast. This podcast is created for those who are passionate about their personal development, health, and well-being. This is a platform for you to come chill by my personal stories and weekly tips in becoming a better version of ourselves and to live a better present. But first, let's chill. My name is Jeanette. Welcome back. So recently, I came across a quote and it really spoke to me. So the quote was, "Maybe the journey is about unbecoming everything that isn't you so that you can be who you were meant to be in the first place." So this was a quote by Paulo Coelho. Paulo Coelho, yes. So I actually searched how to pronounce his name to get it right. So he is a famous Brazilian lyricist. Now, I don't know how this quote made you feel, but for me, it did trigger some form of realization and got me wondering at the point when I read it. So it got me wondering, who am I? Have I lost myself in the process of growing up? So today's episode is going to be one about the journey of unbecoming. I will be talking about what is this journey all about and why is it important to all of us. So when I took a step back and started thinking hard, I realized that for most of us, growing up is a subconscious process where we will lose a bit of who we are to become more of someone who is deemed acceptable by societal standards. And each time we conform to what society deems is acceptable, we actually become less of who we innately are. And I think that everyone can in one way or another relate to this because we have been told since young, well, at least for me, as part of growing up, we have been told that we need to study hard, get a university degree, get a corporate job in a society, eventually be financially stable enough to get married, start a family, have kids, to live a complete life cycle. And I think that all of these statements are actually quite context dependent, and I'm definitely not denying its value and validity. But in most cases, I think that the point I'm trying to drive across here is that these statements are often too absolute and they don't really consider what ifs. So what if money or fame isn't my idea of success? What if starting a family isn't my priority and getting a good corporate job, isn't what I'm after? Along the way, through our different life experiences, we may face different circumstances, which may make all of these underlying assumptions not that valid anymore. Like maybe based on the experiences that we go through in life, we might just one day realize that I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to go for the spiritual mission in life. And of course, the struggle here is always doing what we want and, also finding the means to support ourselves and make a living out of it. But that's fine, right? And I think it's great that if we are consciously trying to find that balance. But then a lot of times as a nation, we are taught to have to perform things in a certain way at a certain time without taking into consideration each individual needs and desires. We are all different and unique in our own ways, yet we are encouraged to fit in and follow the rules and, avoid trying to be unconventional with most of the things we do. And subconsciously, some of these reinforcement slowly become our beliefs because it is constantly put into our heads repeatedly by people around us. So if you can relate to what I'm talking about, and if you tap into your subconscious minds, you will find that you might feel pressurized by all these rules that are present around you. And know that all these rules, or rather beliefs, are actually handed to us without our consent, and we accept them without questioning their validity. And some of them might be really limiting. It limits our potential. It downplays the importance of embracing our own desires and our own values that we might not even know. And this is a problem. The problem is that we do not know. So have we ever paused and questioned, does certain things really have to be that way? For instance, do we really have to get married before a certain age? Do we have to earn X amount of money by X amount of time? And is there really a fixed definition of success? So I would say that the answers to all these questions is it depends, right? It depends on what we want in life, but unfortunately, sometimes what we want is also subconsciously shaped and clouded by what our society wants. For some of us, I think we have not really thought about this question, or we struggle to find answers to this. So it's common not to think about it because of our immediate challenges that we face in our lives. We are already so busy with our work every day. Where do we get the time? And I think it really goes a long way, because once we set our mind to figure out what is it that we really want in life, we can spend the rest of our lives working hard at it. And even if we don't succeed, of course, by succeeding here, I mean meeting our own definition of success, and that's usually the only thing that matters. I mean, even though if we don't succeed, we would enjoy the process. But more often than not, we find success in our own ways when we set our mind and get our mindset right into what is it that we want to set out to achieve. Not by other standards, but by our own innate standards and desires. And make it happen. So I want to just encourage all of us to look deep down and ask yourself, what do you want? And you may be surprised that sometimes, if we look hard enough, it may not be money, it may not be fame or recognition, as these concepts are just instilled and built into our definition of success over time. And you may find other answers and construct your own definition of success, which may come in the form of, fulfillment, or rather fulfilling a certain purpose in life. Or maybe we just want to do a 9-to-5 job and just want a very safe and routine life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for some people, they might be more wired to crave adventure and seek different experiences, and they may just end up changing jobs 10 times in 10 years just to fulfill that need, that need for new experiences. And I think there's just nothing wrong with that. Whatever it is, I'm not questioning your life choices, but what I'm trying to do here is to encourage more people to look into why they are choosing what they choose and have a clear answer to it. So regardless which stage of life we are at right now, be it near to the end of our lives, or we may just earned our first paycheck in life, I think these are questions that are not too late to think about. But I strongly encourage people to just start by asking what do they want. And start seeing that we can just unbecome anything that we have acquired in life, just because even after years of trying, it does not resonate and it does not sit well with us. This may be challenging at first because, you might think, wow, there's just a lot of things I have to give up. But if you are unbecoming something that you are not in the first place, then you will eventually start to feel a whole lot better and a whole lot more liberated. And in fact, you're not losing anything because it wasn't who we were in the first place. So if we could just change our perspective sometimes, it is actually just us, going through the process of gaining back who we were meant to be in the first place. And that is something that no amount of paycheck or fame or recognition can amount to. And maybe when we are younger, we do not have the thinking power, the financial power, or even the maturity to question these things. But as we get older and as we progress in life, even though we have the capabilities to now think about it, the question becomes more of, do we have the courage to think about it now? After years of wiring our mind to just follow the norm, follow the rules, I think some of us can find it rather challenging and uncomfortable sometimes to think about who we really are, and are the beliefs instilled with us over time without our consent really ours? How many of these beliefs we hold are actually still valid, and on what basis they are valid? So we really need to start questioning ourselves and question ourselves every single day. Now, we can not know who we want to be, but then again, is this an excuse, or is it just something that we have put at the back of our head because we are too busy trying to meet expectations of others and what others want us to be? And to what point we want to tell ourselves that we do not know who we want to be, and hence we would just follow the rules and follow what everybody is doing for now? So I hope this episode gave you some sort of insight into what the journey of unbecoming is all about. And in the next episode, we will tackle the big question of how to take the action to find ourselves and who we are meant to be. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. You can also connect with me on Instagram at chillbynette, on my website chillbynette.com to join the conversation and access our show notes. Have a great day, and we'll chill again very soon.